Okay, so I've seen a few of these videos where people talk about the 5 mistakes that beginners make with photography. And a lot of them are to do with like technical tips, like using a fast enough shutter speed or making sure that your horizon is level, stuff which is all pretty basic camera knowledge. And I don't really think that's very exciting and it's been covered to death. So in this video, I'd like to expand a little bit on the topic and talk about 5 mistakes which beginners and maybe some more experienced photographers make that stifle their progress in getting better at photography, as well as ways on how to avoid making them. I have seen photographers who just got into photography make these mistakes, as well as photographers who have been shooting for a few years. So I think that this list actually applies to many people. And before we begin, be sure to subscribe to see more great photography content. Starting off with number 5. People spending almost all of their budget on a brand new shiny camera body and being left with no money to buy a good lens for that body. If you're just beginning, you do not need to spend all that money on a pro body with pro features, most of which you realistically will not use. And a new camera will release in a few years, and all of those autofocus improvements and better dynamic range will be made far less impressive by the new, shinier, and better camera. But you know what won't be made less impressive? Good glass. The great thing about buying high quality lenses is that in the future, when you do end up getting a new camera, you can still use your great lenses on that new camera. Figure out what system you want to go with and then allocate a sizable portion of your budget to buying good lenses for it. And if you can't afford to buy a good camera body and a good bit of glass, then buy an older camera. Never be afraid to look at the used market. So for the longest time when I started photography, I literally only bought used gear because it is awesome to let someone else take the depreciation hit for you. A perfect example of this being this Lumix S1R that I recently picked up and I paid just 1,300 Australian dollars for. Now, this is a 5-year-old camera, but it's a 5-year-old flagship camera with 47 megapixels and a full pro grade build quality. And this was $5,200 brand new in 2019. And it delivers unbelievable results still to this day. And the review for this will be coming very soon. I've got a studio shoot with it on Thursday. And I'm really excited to show you what this thing can do because this is an unbelievable camera. Now, next up for number 4, and this one goes hand in hand with number 5, but it's the belief that you need the absolute best gear in order to take good photos. Now, a pro body like this S1R from 5 years ago is still going to deliver great images. You do not need the absolute latest and greatest, fastest autofocus system or the most amazing dynamic range in order to learn photography. And if anything, the older the body, the more limitations you have, which in turn just help you to learn how to solve problems and make you a better photographer in the long run. Now, when I first started photography in 2014, I bought a Canon 5D Classic. Now, this is a camera from 2005 with just 12 megapixels, and it was absolutely amazing. And I still sometimes think about buying one today just because of how great the files were. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that that camera itself had very average autofocus system, just 9 autofocus points, miserable high ISO performance, and definitely not very good dynamic range. But it didn't really matter because I went out there and I shot and just took so many bloody photographs with that thing, which in turn just made me a better photographer. Stop obsessing over gear and just go and take photos. You would be surprised at just how capable the camera that you already own is. And if you don't own the camera, you'd be surprised at just how capable something that is 5 years old is. And now for number 3. Once again, flowing in from point 4 is not taking your camera with you everywhere and actually shooting a lot. Now, I find some people tend to need an excuse to go and take their camera out with them, or like there was this guy that I knew when I first started photography. We sort of started up together and he was always asking me like how I was able to photograph models so well. And the answer was simple. I shot a lot for free when I got started. Like I would find any reason to go and take photos of my friends, family, anyone. Whereas he would only go and take photos if he was being paid for it, which is a terrible mentality to take that will not make you a better photographer. When you first get started, do not do it for the money. You will not improve and you realistically won't get that many clients either. Improve your skills and the money will follow. And if you're finding these tips helpful, be sure to like the video. It really helps me out. Now, for number 2, not shooting raw. Now, look, I know Fujifilm has some really good film simulations built in and you want to just post your photos without editing them, but not shooting raw at all is seriously stifling your progress because if you aren't learning how to edit your photos, you are never going to unlock the proper potential of what your camera is really capable of. If you really want to shoot JPEG, I suggest just shooting JPEG plus RAW, so you at least have a copy of the image should something go wrong with your film simulation and you end up with a file which you cannot recover easily in post. And I mean, also over time, you may decide, hey, I want a different film simulation or look for this image. I have gone back and re-edited images from my past from many, many years ago, which were great composition-wise, but I felt looked a little bit average due to my inexperience with editing at the time. And because I shoot everything in RAW, I still have all that glorious data that I need in order to get the image looking exactly how I want. And look, I understand, starting off, it can be very, very hard to make your photos look good, but thankfully, I've actually got 2 preset packs which will help you edit great photos, and I even have a Lightroom tips video, which is a good crash course for anyone who wants to learn how to edit better too. And those preset packs are also 25% off if you sign up for my newsletter, so it's a really good value. The link is in the description, and every purchase helps to support me and this channel. Now, for number 1, not studying your photos and analyzing them when you take them, and also comparing them to the professionals. So, when you first start shooting, you really need to understand that a majority of the photos that you are going to be taking probably will suck. And that's fine, a lot of mine suck too, but if you aren't studying what makes them shit, you will not improve at all. Share your work, get feedback on it, and compare it to the pros. What do they do differently that you could try to implement to make your photos better? There are lots of photography Facebook groups that you can share your work to. You can share your work to Reddit, you can post it on Instagram, you can post it everywhere. YouTube is an amazing resource to get a lot of photography knowledge from. I personally love watching people going out and actually taking photos as well. I think that's really cool too. And I'm planning on making some more videos like that in the future as well. And you know, there's so much great free knowledge on this website. You really don't need to pay for a course or go to uni for photography. Trust me, that is a waste of time and money. The only way to improve at photography is to go out and actually take photos. And that's about it. Shoot more, shoot everything, and never stop learning and improving, and you'll be well on your way to becoming an amazing photographer. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and be sure to let me know in the comments if there are any other mistakes that you think that beginners make that are so easily fixed. I would love to hear about them. Thank you so much for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you guys next week.